3, 2, 1. Oh, we're already recording. Sorry. Okay. Podcast Monday.
Podcast Monday.
Not to be confused with Podcast Friday.
Right. The artist formerly known as Podcast Friday.
The entertainment venue that was Podcast Friday.
It's Monday, July 12th.
July 12th.
Yep.
And we are here with, who are these people?
Your mom.
My mom. This is my mom. This is Brenda, Yirsa, and Sam Wisely. Brenda, Yirsa, Beautification Committee. Sam Wisely, same thing, Wise Beans. And we will get more into it when we get back.
Our mission is to promote strategies and policies which ensure improved health for all citizens of Nowata County.
And we're back. Okay. So, we already did kind of our intros. Sam Wisely, Brenda Yirsa with Beautification Committee. All these crazy things have been happening in the last year. Where did it all start, Brenda Yirsa / mommy?
I have a cousin that is in the Nowata Nursing Center, and one of her nurses, BJ Hauk, asked me if I'd like to do a mural for the residents, and I said, sure, I'd like to.
And that'll come up on the slideshow here in a minute.
Yep. So I did a mural for her and the residents, and then you came up with some TSET grant money that...
Misty and I, with TSET, yep.
Okay. Asked me if I would be interested in doing some murals, so I said, sure. It was fun.
And what was my excuse to draw you in on that? I'm putting you on the spot here. We're trying to tie this into what Nowata Can does, so...
Well, you said for health and well-being, and I said, well, could we do something like with physical activity and good nutrition and mental health? And that's why we picked what we did. We did a mural of the farmer's market, fresh fruit and vegetables. For the mental health, we did the flowers, and, you know, because I connect that with gardening, and we call it gardening at my house. And then... the physical activity mural. We also rehabbed a mural before we started on that, and Trista did a parrot mural, and Maggie Perrette did a space one. So it's all down one alley and down behind City Drug. And
so TSET I was able to get TSET to justify a $500 matching grant. Dustin Perrette matched $500. The three things underneath TSET, and you'll hear me say this a million times because it's got to drive this point home, is tobacco cessation, nutrition, and physical activity. And there's clearly a physical activity mural. There's clearly a nutrition, which is the garden market one. And then I don't know how to put a tobacco cessation without putting somebody there smoking a cigarette. And I don't know that would have been a good image. So, but mental health is an underlying thing that we all, in some way, shape, or fashion, degree or whatever, that leads to coping mechanisms like smoking or, bad habits and stuff like that. So that's where those came from. And so you've got your original one behind the nursing home, and then these three that Dustin Perrette helped match money with.
Yes.
But it's also to promote the walking trail, because that was a big question of like, why is it down the alley? Well, now we call it Mural Alley, and I think that's something to kind of hang our hat on because it's kind of cool. Other towns and cities have that kind of thing, but it's like the Easter egg effect.
Yeah,
it's like, but now you guys have expanded into a lot of other things.
Yeah, it's on the other side of the street in those alleys too. So we have the continuation.
So what came after those?
Okay, there was an existing mural from 26 years ago that me and my students did, and it was in a really bad repair, and so we had talked about it. We would refurbish that, so I invited some of my students back, and they did. They came back, and we had a good time. It was just a win-win situation for all. We did it in about a week, and I think that's when you asked me if I would like to resurrect the Nowata Beautification, and I said yes, as long as I'm not in charge. And
kind of sneaky that way.
Yeah.
But if you don't know, Mom was an art teacher in Nowata County, Nowata and Oklahoma Union for combined, 30 years?
30 years, I think. Yeah.
In between, you did some mental health stuff. You
I
worked
did. I
for
was a
Rockman.
counselor for Rockman Youth Services.
And I know how busy of a person she is, and then she's retired. And it's like, yeah, she needs something to do.
Yeah. I do.
Figured it would work.
I do. And that's where Sam came along. Sam and Shay. They're my team members.
It all started right up there in Wise Beans, right there at that middle table. We had talked about. Do you want to go ahead and go to the slideshow?
Sure.
We don't have everything.
Sure.
It's not fully current, but let's go to the slideshow and let's talk over top of that because where's my button? There it is. So tell us who this is and what they're doing.
That's Renee and Maudie, I think. They were doing
Yes.
a touch-up on the bank. And Joe Harrison and Sam are both masons, and they redid this flower bed, and we planted it. We have some gardeners that helped.
And you have it like a side group. You know,
Yes.
there's the beautification committee, and then there's some other subgroups,
Yes,
right?
that's a sign that we touched up. It was almost gone. And there's some of our gardening.
The gardening subcommittee. What do you guys call them?
Oh, we just say floral and gardening department. You know,
Gotcha.
That's the back of my Jeep.
That's how it looks 95% of the time
Yeah.
Don't
for the
get
last
it
year and a
wrong,
half.
man.
Yes. We call it the Beautification Mobile. And that's the very first one I did in Nowata. That's for my cousin. This is the activity mural.
And that was the first T-set one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now this was a rehab. That was what was there before. And Crystal and I actually did that. My daughter did the background.
Crystal Yirsa / Freeman.
Freeman, yes. And this is what it looked like afterwards. We didn't have a lot of information left there, so we kind of had to fill in what we could.
But that was a teenager that had done it like 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah. That's another T-set one, and that's the good nutrition, fruits and vegetables.
And since then, the left side's been redone.
It's been
with the
expanded.
turnaround.
Mm-hmm. Now this is the beginning of the rehab that we did of the mural 26 years ago, and these are some of my students. The first one was Amber Shambles, and that's Melody Wood. And down on the floor is Cindy Forsberg. She was a Tidwell at one time. And this one's Barry Bates. He came all the way from Claremore to do that.
Multiple days. And this was a concept. We need to remember to touch on this.
Oh, it didn't show Kendra Campbell
Yeah.
Watson. She was there too. She did the horse, and that was something near and dear to her heart. Now this is the donut shop. Dustin was a big contributor, so I made him a donut, and we just started doing the front of his shop and then the sides. This is Matt Malone doing a demolition of an old building that we had that was just falling down, and it had been there for 40 years. And there's the crew deciding what to do. That's Sam
There's-
and my husband Lynn.
Or cowboy.
Yeah, or cowboy. This is Sam working on the flower container stop sign in the hub of our downtown area. This is me and Renee doing some facade work on our buildings downtown.
That was old OJA office.
This is the old depot. And I think, I'm not so sure who's on the ladder, but I think that's Alice at the bottom. And that's Cindy.
And the depot,
Keeler.
that paint came from the beautification, or Nowata, not Nowata, PSO paint grant. And that was like the 4th or 5th building that actually was kind of a precursor to a lot of this stuff too.
That's Bob's DX across from Casey's. That's what it looked like before. So you can see it's a big change. There's my crew. That's Jane's Mission. I don't think we have a before of that.
It's very flat, but it was so much cleaner, sleeker
Yes.
than it was.
Rose Straw is one of our gardeners, and she repainted this bench. It looks really nice. That's the facade of the Virginia building, and we did some painting and cleaning, and we painted the door, and
Made those letters pop.
yeah. Now this is a before of the Nowata Lodge pillars. They
You
were-
don't see that quite of nice architecture anymore.
Yeah, there's
as
an
much.
after, and then later you'll see some where they're planted. Our gardening department, I guess you'd say, did that. Cindy Keeler and her husband Kent. This is part of a mural on the east side of Catherine Amer's beauty shop. That's her cat, and it is looking at those frogs that's jumping out of the painting of the lilies.
You've been wanting to do that one for a while.
I did.
You've been holding on to something like that for a while.
Yeah.
Your granddaughter did this
Lucy did the one in the corner, yes. I took her with me one day, and she just jumped right on it and did exactly what I told her to do. That's me and Arrow, and that's really the first one that Arrow and I did together. I painted the girl, and he did the ribbons and the hair, which just really made it pop. That's a rehab on a sign.
I wish we could get the neon redone. That's just, it's a lost art,
They
really.
are. They are
Oh, are
getting,
they?
yeah.
I heard that they were.
Wow.
Yeah, this is Cactus Hill. That was partially done, and I went in and finished it up. Now, this is us eating lunch at the Mexican place. It's a good place to go. This is the
El
one.
Tapatio.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is the floral gardening one that I was talking about on the side of Sweet Peas.
But that's also that was
Yes.
the mental health.
Yes.
Right? The peaceful. Yeah.
Right. And there's the one where it's finished with all the flowers in there that Kent and Cindy Keeler did. There's Arrow doing his thing. That's the most recent one that we've done, and we don't have a finished picture of that, but it turned out pretty good.
That's a kind of a good part of this is kind of always leading, wanting them a little bit more. Well, there's more stuff. And it's like, yeah, there is, and we're going to show that next time, part 2.
Yep.
Always leave them wanting more. We are roughly at 11 minutes right now. I messed up and I didn't have a setting right, and I didn't record the first one, the audio. So this is kind of a second hashing
Oh, Marcus,
of this.
I was falling on the sword.
You have no idea how much that drives me nuts. So I apologize. But what other things do we need to make sure that the community knows and understands how the beautification? We kind of got a rough idea of where it came from, how it got started. Where is it going, and what other things fall underneath the beautification committee?
Okay. Well, Sam, Shay, and I, Shay Lively, are the team members, and we're the ones that started this. And Wise Beans is our headquarters, so to speak, and he also runs Wise Beans Coffee. So Sam and Shay both have full-time jobs, and I don't. So me and the beautification group goes out. Sam works on evenings and weekends. You know, he does it whenever he's off work. But we go out during the day. We try to get out at 6 o'clock in the morning because it's just so hot. And we try to work till noon, 11:30 or 12 o'clock. I have 2 sets of volunteers. I have the volunteers, and then I have the super volunteers, which Maudie Crawford, Renee Stewart, and Georgia Sellers are there every time I am. I don't know that they've missed 2 days the whole time. I mean, they're there.
That's amazing.
Yes, they're very dedicated.
And I want to say, they literally have no other motivation at all other than they just want to give back to their community. And I think that speaks volumes.
There's no pay.
Volumes. There's no other motivation other than they just care about their community.
Exactly. And the rest of these people are all volunteers. Nobody's getting paid here. The artists are me and Arrow, and recently Sheila Sellers has joined our group. Trista has done a murals, and we're going to do another one in the near future.
Should we tell them where that's going to be, or should we just put it up, or they'll see it
That's
eventually?
up to you.
It ain't up to me. I'm not. I'm
Well,
just got to
we-
push the buttons and start the podcast.
We know where it's going to be.
Yeah,
They'll find it.
they'll find it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dun dun dun.
Brenda Hilliard from Nowata High School. She's the art teacher up there. She has helped on the marble mural, and she had a few of her girls come and helped with that. Am I leaving anybody else out? Oh, Pamela Patterson. Pamela Patterson is the Children's Coalition head, and they started last Saturday, and you got to see what they've gotten done.
We drove by it a while ago.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
It looks awesome.
But she's very organized, and she had those kids come in, just every,
Like shifts.
like every 30 minutes to an hour or something, and they got it done. I mean, not done, but they put some paint on.
And that's one of those Easter egg things. I'll tell you this. It's all kind of off the beaten path. Do you know what streets off the top of your head? where it's at?
Modoc and Willow.
Yeah, it's not a typical thing that you guys would do necessarily, because a lot of what you're doing is focused on main fairways. You know, people coming into town. This is all about community pride, and those who come into town, if we can slow them down to maybe they'll stop at a gas station, maybe they stop and get a cup of coffee, or they'll go ahead and stop for dinner or lunch or whatever. And the longer we can keep them here, the more they're attracted to our town. And we have a dozen stories. Sam was telling one earlier about... Well, go ahead.
Some lady was walking around the alley this weekend and was enjoying all of the murals and wasn't from around here, but she didn't tell me where she was from. So,
And Mom and I have a couple stories about some retired teachers that came up while we were doing the garden market.
Yeah.
We had a truck full of people stop, and what was that?
I don't remember. They were from Kansas. That's all I remember. But they
said
stopped.
they had friends.
Yeah, they just wanted to. That was last summer, actually. They just wanted to drive around and check it out.
They said they had friends bragging about what was going on in Nowata,
Yep, that's right.
and asked if we happened to know where the murals were. And of course, our heads went, "Yeah, we do. We helped on them." And but I have pretty much a working relationship with most of the businesses downtown and down through Midtown on the other side of the tracks. And without fail, they all have a little story of like, oh yeah, we've had some people come in and ask where the murals are or whatever, and they may or might, it's foot traffic. They may or may not buy a water or a trinket or whatever, but the more foot traffic, the better outside
We've
money.
had
So we're not
quite
just
a few kids do like senior pictures in front of them.
Good.
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Which
I
is
love that.
awesome.
We get tagged in that quite a bit of, you know, Veneta, Chelsea, Coffeeville. They'll do their senior pictures in front of some of our murals, which is
That's
pretty
awesome.
cool. Pretty cool.
You said children. I wanted to point out that this is not just our town. It's our children's town, too. And having a children's coalition is very near and dear to my heart, being an ex-teacher. I think with them being involved, they will have ownership in this town.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the point. We didn't have time because of the slideshow, but Barry, part of it was Barry came from Claremore like 5 or 6 times to come and work on this. And so did, you know, some of the other ones.
Cindy did.
But that's 25 years ago. He did that as a high schooler. High schoolers aren't typically known for dedication and all that kind of stuff, because we were all teenagers at one point. We understand that. But for 25 years later to be so connected and drive back with a day job, and he's an EMT, and so his schedule's bonkers.
And a fireman.
And a fireman.
Yeah.
But that right there to me is pretty significant. If we engage our youth now and make them proud, and they like, hey, I did that mural, I did this, I
Yes.
cleaned this up, take care of that. I'm the one that, don't vandalize that. I'm the one that did this. If our high functioning kids stay in town and become leaders in this town and take over, you know, the torch for the next generation, then that's where my heart is. I mean, I feel like, you know, adults have kind of made their own path. They're going to do what they want to do, and they have that right to do whatever they want.
Sure.
And if we can help, again, guide those kids to take pride and maintain stuff, then, man, that's a huge investment. Huge investment. And we just did a listening session at the Boys and Girls Club earlier today, and that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
But that's how we're going to be able to make this sustainable.
You bet. Get them involved.
So we've got the youth coalition.
Okay, and
There's
we do
other-
have the floral and gardening department that some people are just more prone to do that kind of work than they are painting. You know, I don't paint, you know, and I'm not an artist. You don't have to be. We also have a recycle idea coming down the pike. We haven't got it
Ooh, that
fine
would be-
tuned yet.
That would be awesome.
We need
I
to
know
do
plenty
that.
of people ask about recycling.
Yeah, I think Susan Perkins said that they had 500 tires from the town of Delaware one
Oh,
year.
my.
Yep. I
Yeah,
remember
donated, and then they turn it into the stuff that you put on the playgrounds.
That. Yep.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. I want you to tell me about open mic night.
the Arts, Culture, Humanity Coalition of Nowata.
He got it first try.
I didn't come up with the name.
He's reading
That
it.
is-
He's reading it
We
off.
like live in this world of acronyms, so like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That came up
Sounds
out of
good.
one of the beautification meetings. It's kind of spearheaded by Arrow, just to highlight all of our local artists and what they do. So he is organizing an open mic night. The first one will be Thursday, July 15th at 7 at Wise Beans.
Thursday,
organizing it.
July
I'm hosting.
15th at 7 to 10. So,
So that will be our inaugural event. We'll see how it goes and hope that it goes well. So
from I was part of me, Paul Hughes, you, Susan Perkins, and Arrow. We had kind of had the first brainstorming session, and last I heard we have 5, I think, plus my wife Megan, so that I think that at least 6. And I think Megan's going to do 3 songs. Paul Hughes is going to set in and play acoustic guitar or piano. Paul Hughes generously put the piano down at your
Yeah, I
place.
think it looks awesome in there.
If somebody was an actual piano player, would you hate it if they came in and played a little soft music
absolutely
during the
not.
day?
Anytime, if you can play, play.
Okay, absolutely not. You wouldn't mind. Not
I would not
absolutely
mind.
don't. Okay,
I would not
okay.
mind.
Now, don't run with that community and let your kid go up and bang on it. But still, there's poetry reading, just
It's
instrumental
open
playing
mic,
guitar,
whatever.
they want to do, and they can
We
sign
have
up.
a comedian coming too.
And a comedian.
And I think Arrow is going to sing. And if you haven't heard Arrow sing,
Oh, yeah, tell
you
Yirsa.
need to be there. Well, one day we were painting on the trolley mural, and I said, Arrow, do you sing? Because we was talking about open mic. He said, oh, yeah, I've sang since I was little bitty. And I said, well, sing something. And he belted out Amazing Grace. Oh, my goodness. The acoustics in that alley, and it just rang all over town. And it's like he can sing for me anytime he wants to.
Yeah, that alley, the way it sounds, I've noticed that multiple times. I'm a sound guy, but I can imagine it just being haunting. Just
It was
that,
good.
that-
I wished I'd have recorded it.
So this Thursday. Now, if you're watching this months down the road, this is July 15th, 2021.
This Thursday.
This Thursday from 7 to 10, open mic. And there's a Facebook. You can find it on Facebook someplace. Go to Nowata Can or Wise Beans, and it's been shared there multiple times. Or the
ACHCN.
that one. So,
Oh, I want to mention something that I didn't mention a while ago.
absolutely.
We kind of consider Wise Beans as our headquarters, and people have stopped to say, where can I contribute? I want them to take it to Sam. A lot of times, I don't have a pocket or whatever. Sam is usually always there, if not the girls know where to put any kind of contributions to
Perfect.
the Nowata Beautification.
Perfect. Anything else? That's where the donations can go. Like Mom was saying before, you don't have to be an artist per se. You can be, if you want to write a check and that's your thing. If you want to mow yards or prep walls, that's my big thing. I'm not the greatest artist. I can fill in and make her life a little bit easier, but I can power wash and I can primer with the best of them, and I'm not bad on a ladder yet. But there's all kinds of things you can do to contribute. So don't not do something because you think that you're not good enough or whatever. That's all how it starts.
Well,
Really.
I do want to say that if you had not power washed and primed those walls, I don't know that this would have happened. Because that's a huge undertaking to do that and paint. So our volunteers do some of it, but if you have a wall that you want painted, you might go up higher on the get to list. If
Right.
you
Right,
do
yeah.
your own
yeah.
scraping, power washing, and priming, it's a blank canvas to us that way. But if we have to do all that other stuff, it may take a lower priority. We do, we clean, we get our nippers out and our weed eaters, and we sweep and we power wash and we scrape and we prep and we paint. So you don't have to be an artist to join Nowata Beautification. Just come, we'll find you a job.
I think the qualifications are you an adult that has transportation that can get to where you need to be, and you want to help your community?
Yes, and be an adult, that means over the age of 18. We do not want children on site where we're working. We don't have time to watch them. Sometimes we're next to a road or, busy traffic. We're up on ladders. We can't take them to the bathroom every time they need to go to the bathroom. There is a children's coalition for that, and they are staffed to do that.
And they very much have that built in. You were talking about earlier where they rotate every 30, 45 minutes or something. Because their attention spans, they get bored.
Yeah.
Well,
We're
just-
out there for hours and
Yeah.
hours.
Well, just that whole volunteers coming together. I mean, you're kind of forming a camaraderie there. You're building community this way.
Yes.
And the more people we add, the better our community knows each other. And
Yeah.
man,
We adore our volunteers. We really do.
It definitely could not be done without them. So
Yep.
Exactly.
So whenever you see the beautification committee out in the community, especially at lunchtime, you might think about just picking up the check. Just saying. Well, guys, I apologize for messing up the first one. I think this was just as good as the first one.
Right.
Maybe we didn't tell all the same stories and all that kind of stuff, but we're probably at the 25-minute mark again.
Okay.
And time just flies whenever there's so much fun stuff to talk about. Who knows? Maybe we'll cut this up into part 1 and part 2. I don't know. But thank you guys so much for everything you do.
You bet.
Thank you.
If you need me to go print some community champion badges or medals or whatever, we'll do that. That's what Nowata Can's looking for all the time. Real quick, tying it in, T-set, walkability, placemaking. The cleaner the town is, the smarter it's laid out, the easier it is to get from point A to point B, having shade, having access to water, having safe crosswalks, having a walking trail to go out and be physically active and healthy, and having a place to go in and cool off downtown, places to sit outside and enjoy the weather. These are all things that are good for your mental health. It's all good for your nutrition, good for your physical activity. So that's how we've justified a lot of things that we're able to do sponsorship-wise, starting the murals and all that kind of stuff. Through the filter of DFC and PFS.
yeah.
What
Well,
else?
that's what I was going to say. It's an obvious fit for like T-set. You can clearly see how it works with the T-set grant, with our Partnerships for Success grant, and then our Drug Free Communities Support grant. A lot of that is substance abuse awareness and prevention in our youth. But a big part of that piece is community safety, like a safer environment. And so addressing some of those environmental factors, we might not have money to put up like street lights or lights in the alley, but we do have paint. We can paint a mural and we can get more people walking. People can come down, downtown. We see more and more people walking all the time.
Good.
That just means there's more eyes and ears on neighborhoods and our community and what's happening. And I think that's just like, it's almost like by default, you're putting together a neighborhood watch,
right.
without doing it. So that's how it ties into the PFS and the DFC.
Opportunities create other opportunities, and I explained this the first time, but opportunity 1 creates an opportunity for opportunity 2. Opportunity 2 creates an opportunity for 3, and so on and so forth. Opportunity 3 probably could not happen if it wasn't for opportunity 1. And the murals, having the walking trail, being able to get the murals on the walking trail, led to a beautification committee, which has led to open mic, which has led to
Cleaner and safer.
Yeah.
cleaner and safer, has led to positive press out of Tulsa TV stations. I go out and about and mix around in Tulsa area, and people go, "Hey, where are you from?" Blah blah blah. Nowata. Oh, is that where the murals are? I've literally had that conversation before. Literally had it twice. Before other things came up because things were in the news, but it just, this begets that, and opportunity 3 or 4 might not even be possible if it wasn't for opportunity 1. And so we just got to keep fanning the flames, and people need to start jumping in and start volunteering or doing what they can to help. And I want to reiterate, your volunteers are doing this because they just want to do something for their community. They are not getting paid. They are not getting extra business just because of it. Nobody is profiting off of this in any other way other than just knowing they're doing the right thing for the community.
Yep.
And I think that's an amazing thing, and look at all the love that has come from it. So
I think that's the most important thing, is we're having a good time together.
oh man,
And we've made some new friends and some old friends, and I mean, there's something to be said for that, to spend time with people doing a common thing, and something good coming out of it.
Yep.
Perfect.
Well, before I start crying, let's go.
Oh, there's your tissues.
Anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Trista, we good?
We're good.
Sam, you good?
Good.
Mommy, you good?
I'm great.
All right. I only call her Mommy on air, so. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Keep up the good work, and we'll see you for the next podcast.
Thank
Yes.
you.